When we hear the term crucial conversations, we tend to conjure up images of presidents, emperors, prime ministers seated around a massive table while they debate the future. Maybe I've been watching too much of the Netflix series The Crown. Although those are certainly discussions that have widespread impact, that is not what we'll be exploring in this presentation. Here I am referring to the day-to-day conversations that happen to all of us. In their seminal book, Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When the Stakes Are High, Patterson, Grenny, McMillan, and Switler defined a crucial conversation as one in which opinions vary, stakes are high, and emotions are strong. What makes these conversations crucial is that the results could have a huge impact. Some element of your life could be altered, for better or for worse. Just because you are in the middle of a crucial conversation or perhaps thinking of stepping into one, that does not necessarily mean trouble, or that you won't fare well. Patterson and his colleagues suggest that you can do one of three things. You can avoid the conversation, you can face the conversation and handle it poorly, or you can face the conversation and handle it well. While the obvious answer would be to choose to handle the crucial conversation well, there are some factors that get in the way. Sometimes, unfortunately, we are our own worst enemies. Sometimes, when a conversation turns tough, we pause, take a deep breath, and announce to our inner selves, uh-oh, this discussion is crucial. I had better pay close attention. And then we move forward and deliver our best. Sometimes, when we are anticipating a potentially dangerous conversation, we step up boldly, monitor our behavior, and offer our best. However, sometimes we dissolve into our absolute worst. And why is that? In their book, Crucial Conversation, Patterson and his colleagues suggest that generations of genetic shaping drives humans to handle such conversations with flying fists and or fleet feet, instead of intelligent persuasion and gentle attentiveness. In a crucial conversation, our adrenal glands pump adrenaline into our bloodstream, prompting a fight or flight response. Blood actually flows away from the logic center in our brain to support body parts that can assist with fighting or fleeing, such as the large muscles of the arms and the legs. They get more blood, and the higher level reasoning sections of our brains actually get less. Essentially, our bodies are preparing to deal with an attacking saber-toothed tiger, not your boss or a colleague. Often, crucial conversations catch us off guard with no time to prepare. That places us under pressure, and we are forced to conduct an extraordinarily complex human interaction in real time. No books to refer to, no coaches to help us, no time to take a break. Also, we tend to lack the knowledge needed to engage in effective communication. It's little wonder that we often say and do things that make perfect sense in the moment, but not so much later when we reflect on the situation. Patterson, Grenny, McMillan, and Switzer engaged in over 25 years of research in 17 organizations. Their findings suggest that individuals who are the most influential, who can get things done and at the same time build on relationships, are those who have mastered crucial conversations. High performers know how to stand up to the boss without committing career suicide. They don't have to choose between candor and career. They're able to express controversial and even risky opinions in a way that gets heard. Others listen without becoming defensive or angry. Silence, however, kills. Those who observe deviations or infractions and say nothing, they work in silos. In many organizations, employees fall silent when a crucial moment occurs. However, in organizations where people are able to candidly and effectively speak up, projects and initiatives are far less likely to fail. And if that were not reason enough, crucial conversations can improve relationships, both personal and professional, and even improve personal health. Let's pause for just a moment. And from your perspective, how would you rate yourself on this scale of 1 to 10 in terms of how you currently handle crucial conversations? Would you agree that we need to blend intellectual, IQ, and emotional, EQ intelligence to enable effective conversations? In Crucial Conversations, the authors define dialogue as the free flow of meaning between two or more people. As a result of their over 25 years of studying successful conversations, they suggest that those who are skilled in crucial conversations find a way to get all relevant information from themselves and others out into the open. First of all, they suggest that we need to fill the pool of shared meaning. People skilled at dialogue make it safe for everyone to add their meaning into this shared pool. Filling the pool improves the quality of decisions, and a pool of shared meaning is the birthplace of synergy. The time spent up front establishing a shared pool of meaning is more than paid for by faster, more united, and more committed action later on. However, many of us tend to hold back from sharing for our fear of angering someone in a position of power. When the stakes are high, opinions vary, and emotions run strong, we are often at our worst. In order to move to our best, we need to find a way to explain what is in each of our personal pools of meaning, especially high-stakes, sensitive, and controversial opinions, feelings, and ideas, and to get others to share their pools as well. So how do we encourage the flow of meaning in the face of differing opinions and strong emotions? It certainly can't be all that easy, but the fact is that people can change, but it takes work. The first principle of dialogue offered by the authors of Crucial Conversations is to start with heart, your own heart. If you cannot get yourself right, you will have a hard time getting dialogue right. So work on me first and us second. The first problem generally faced in crucial conversations is not that our behavior degenerates, it's that our motives do. The first step is to fix the problem of believing that the others are the source of all troubles. More often than not, we are also doing something to contribute to the problems at hand. As much as others may need to change, as much as you may want them to change, the only person you can continually inspire, prod, and shape is that person looking back at you in the mirror. The people who are best at dialogue understand this simple fact and turn it into a principle that guides them. Work on me first, us second. When we are under attack, our heart can take a sudden and unconscious turn. When faced with pressure and strong opinions, we can stop worrying about adding to the pool of meaning and start looking for ways to win, to punish, or to keep the peace. This is where we need to focus on what we really want. 1, you need to refocus your brain. Ask yourself, what do I really want here, for myself, for others, for the relationship? How would I behave if I really wanted those results? 2, find your bearings. Don't respond until you've answered all of those questions. 3, take charge of your body. Force your brain to focus on the questions. That will get some blood flowing back to your brain and help you to remain in dialogue. 4, avoid the overwhelming urge to win or to prove that you are right. 5, avoid the urge to seek revenge or harm the person who's confronting you. And 6, refrain from avoiding the issue and hoping to remain safe. You need to understand it's a false dichotomy. You have to open up yourself to possible change, and you need to search for the elusive. You need to clarify what you want, clarify what you don't want. Present your brain with a challenge. Is it possible that there is a way to accomplish both? Always look for the third option. Search for that elusive and. Before we can become effective at dialogue, we need to know when a conversation has turned crucial. Some things to pay attention to would include physical signs, a tightness in your stomach, dry eyes, a dry mouth. Emotional signals, fear, anger, hurt. Behavioral signs, a pitch of voice gets higher, gestures get more forceful. People stop talking, muscles tense, arms cross. The biggest challenge is to watch for these in yourself and pay attention to how others are reacting to you. If they react poorly, consider how you're behaving. That might be prompting those responses. It's important to consider that when a person or persons respond to you with silence or aggression, it may be because the person does not feel safe with you in this conversation. Think of yourself. When you're under stress, are you more likely to resort to silence or aggression? You can take the first step in improving your crucial conversation skills by learning your style under stress. This link will take you to a 33-question quiz that reveals your natural tendencies to move towards silence, masking, avoiding, or withdrawing, or violence, which I prefer to call aggression, controlling, labeling, or attacking. Before you begin, identify a relationship. Think about a relationship you want to explore with your boss, your coworker, a direct report, a friend, or a family member. Next, identify a circumstance. Think of a tough circumstance, one where you either stay silent or perhaps lash out with a raised voice. Finally, you're going to apply, with that relationship and that circumstance in mind, respond to the statements that are in this assessment. When stakes are high, emotions run strong and opinions differ. We all struggle to stay cool and calm. But more often than not, we clam up for fear that speaking up will make things worse. Or we blow up because we haven't a clue how to express ourselves honestly and respectfully. Your silence and aggression scores give you a measure to consider. Remember, we are all human. We toggle between holding back and becoming too forceful. Your score on this does not represent an inalterable character trait or a genetic propensity. It's merely a measure of typical behavior, and you can change that. What you have now is a tool that can help you to learn to look. That is, as you enter touchy conversations, you are more aware and can now make an intentional effort to avoid some of your habits. When in a crucial conversation, you are now more conscious of what to watch for. You learn to look at content and conditions. You look for when things become crucial. You learn to watch for safety problems. You look to see if others are moving towards silence or aggression. And you look for outbreaks of your own style under stress. One way to make it safe is to step out of the conversation. When the other person resorts to silence or aggression, you can step out of the content of the conversation. Don't stay stuck in what's being said. Those individuals demonstrating the worst case scenario would ignore the need for safety, to say whatever's on their mind with no regard for how it would be received, or they conclude that the topic is unsafe and they move into silence. Those who are good at this would realize that safety is a risk, but their efforts are in the wrong direction. They try to make the conversation or subject more palatable by sugarcoating the message. They try to make things safer by watering down or dressing up their content, which avoids the real problem and doesn't fix anything. Those who are at the very best in dealing with crucial conversations don't play games. They know that in order to solve the problem, they need to talk about the problem, with no pretending, sugarcoating, or faking. They do something quite different. They step out of the content of the conversation, make it safe, and step back in. Once safety is restored, you can talk about nearly anything. The first step in building safety comes with understanding which of two different conditions is at risk. Each one requires a different solution. Crucial conversations can go awry, not necessarily because others dislike the content of the conversation, but because they believe the content, even if delivered gently, has a malicious intent. And so the first condition of safety is mutual purpose. Mutual purpose means that others perceive that you are working toward a common outcome and that you care about their common goals, interests, and values. And vice versa, you believe they care about yours. Mutual purpose is the entry condition of dialogue. Find a shared goal, and you have both a good reason and a healthy climate for talking. How do we know when mutual purpose is at risk? How can we recognize that the safety problem we are seeing is due to the lack of mutual purpose? Well, when mutual purpose is at risk, we tend to end up in a debate. When others start forcing their opinions into a pool of meaning, it's often because they figure that we're trying to win, and they feel they need to do the same. Other signs include defensiveness, hidden agendas, accusations, and circling back to the same topic. Two helpful questions to ask are, 1, do others believe I care about their goals in this conversation? And 2, do they trust my motives? The word mutual is important here. The purpose has to be truly mutual. If our goal is to get our way, manipulate others, it will not work. It will become quickly apparent and safety is destroyed. It may be best to ask yourself some hurt questions. What do I want for me? What do I want for others? What do I want for the relationship? Now on to mutual respect. Patterson and his colleagues note that while there's no reason to enter a crucial conversation if you don't have a mutual purpose, it's equally true that you cannot stay in the conversation if you don't maintain mutual respect. If people perceive that others don't respect them, the conversation immediately becomes unsafe and dialogue comes to a halt. Now the interactions are no longer about the original purpose. It's now about defending dignity. You can watch for the signs. Emotions are the key. When people feel disrespected, they become highly charged. Their emotions turn from fear to anger. They can even resort to pouting, name-calling, yelling, and making threats. So the important question to ask is, do others in this conversation believe that I respect them? When you see that either mutual purpose or mutual respect is at risk, Patterson and his colleagues suggest that we do not ignore it, and that we find a way, even with people who are enormously different from us. But how? They suggest 3 skills that the best who use dialogue use. They suggest apologize, contrast, and create a mutual purpose. Now, each of these skills help to rebuild either a mutual purpose or a mutual respect. Apologize, for instance, when you have made a mistake that hurts others. Start with an apology, a statement that sincerely expresses your sorrow for your role and pain that you may have caused or difficulty for others. When you harm someone, admit your mistake and express your regret. Make it clear you understand that what you did violated their trust. An apology is really not an apology unless you experience a change of heart. Your motives have to change. You have to give up saving face, being right, or winning in order to focus on what you really want. If this is a sincere show of respect, it will help restore safety. Now you can explain the details of what happened. If not, you still need to make it safe before returning to the issue. Next is the idea of contrast. Some people feel disrespected during crucial conversations, even though you did not do anything disrespectful, and any insult was entirely unintended. Clearly, an apology will not be enough here. It would be disingenuous to admit that you were wrong when you weren't. So when others misinterpret either your purpose or your intent, you can step out and rebuild safety by using the skill of contrast. State what you don't mean and explain what you do mean. Contrasting is not apologizing. Contrasting is putting things in perspective by putting them in context. Contrasting is helpful in preventing misunderstandings. Thirdly, you could create a mutual purpose. Sometimes we find ourselves in the midst of a debate because we have clearly different purposes, and we need to create a mutual purpose. The 4 skills on this slide can be used and help you find a mutual purpose. Those who are the worst at dialogue tend to fall into a trap. They fall hostage to their emotions and they don't even realize it. Those who are good at dialogue realize that if they don't control their emotions, matters will get worse. However, they may fake it or choke down reactions, and unfortunately, when they hit a rough spot in a crucial conversation, their suppressed emotions will come out of hiding. Those who are best at dialogue are not held hostage by emotions, nor do they try to hide or suppress them. They act on their emotions. When they have strong feelings, they influence and often change their emotions by thinking them out. Once we recognize the clever stories that we tell ourselves, we can move to the mastermind story skill. Those who are dialogue smart recognize that when they are telling clever stories and they stop, then they do what it takes to tell a useful story. A useful story creates emotions that lead to healthy action. Clever stories are incomplete. They omit crucial information about us, about others, about our options. The best way to fill in the missing details is by turning victims into actors, villains into humans, and the helpless into able. When you have a tough message to share, or when you are so convinced of your own rightness that you may push too hard, you need to be totally frank, totally honest, and completely respectful. You need to state your path. This particular slide can give you a step-by-step process for that. In a similar way, you really need to explore others' paths. Here the key will be to be sincere, to be curious, to stay curious, and to be patient. To encourage others to share their paths, we can use 4 power listening tools that help make it safe for others to speak frankly. We can ask, we can mirror, we can paraphrase, or we can prime. However, let's say you did your very best to make it safe for the other person to talk, and after asking, mirroring, paraphrasing, and priming as illustrated on the slide, the other person has opened up. But what if you disagree? What if some of the other person's facts are wrong, or at least very different from the story you've been telling? This is where you agree when you agree, you build when others leave out key pieces, and compare where you differ. Having more meaning in the pool, and even jointly owning it, does not guarantee that we all agree on what we are going to do. Often we fail to convert ideas into action for 2 reasons. 1, we have unclear expectations about how the decisions will be made, or 2, we do a poor job of acting on the decisions. The 2 riskiest times in crucial conversations are at the very beginning and the very end. The beginning is risky because if we fail to create safety, things will go awry and the dialogue will end. The ending is risky because if you handle it poorly, you will violate expectations, making it difficult to be in dialogue in the future. 2 key questions to consider are 1, how are decisions going to be made? And 2, are we ever going to decide? When you are deciding how to decide, it can be helpful to have a way to talk about the decision-making options that are available. For instance, we could look at commands. With a command decision, it's not our job to decide. It's our job to decide how to make it work. Either outside forces place demands on us, or we turn decisions over to others and follow their lead. We can choose consult. This is a process whereby decision makers invite others to influence them before they make a choice. You can consult with experts, a representative population, or even everyone who wants to offer an opinion. Next, we can consider vote. Voting is best suited to situations where efficiency is at the highest value, and you are selecting from a number of good options. 4th option to look at with decision making is consensus. Consensus can be a blessing and it can be a curse. Consensus means that you talk until everyone honestly agrees to one decision. Now, this can produce tremendous unity and high-quality decisions, or it can be a complete waste of time. Actually, Patterson and his colleagues recommend using consensus only with high stakes and complex issues, or issues where everyone absolutely must support the final choice. This slide will help you to put it all together. In fact, it might be handy to keep. This is how the principles might look when you are dealing with crucial conversations. The first column lists the 7 principles. The second summarizes the skills associated with those principles. And the final column is really the best place to start coaching yourself or coaching others in crucial conversations.